Welcome to Single Tree Nation. I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, the host and owner of Single Tree Woodfire Barbecue. We are here to build community through undeniable hospitality, storytelling, and the perfect plate of barbecue. What is going on, Single Tree Nation? Welcome back. We got a pretty exciting episode this afternoon for you, morning, evening, wherever you're at in your day listening to our show. But as always, we have our illustrious co-host, Mr. Derry Wells.
What is up, everybody?
Look, guys, today we have an episode with the owner and founder of Cledis Burger, Shane, and I don't want to mispronounce your last name, so I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what you do, and we will dive into the show.
I think you said it. Shane Nasby, Nashville, Tennessee, and we have a couple spots up there, and Cledis Burgers, like you said, and got another little sandwich shop up there that we opened recently called Jam Box, and so
nice.
And, been doing this for a long time,
So Derry and I both have done a little bit of research into who you are and where you came from and all the things, right? So, and the first thing that I found was you started, burgers wasn't your thing to start with. You started in the barbecue side.
I did, yeah. So, I mean, competition barbecue was my background, just like a lot of guys, you know, just cooking the KCBS and a little bit of MBN, and started doing that back in like 2008, and you know how that goes. You know, people start wanting you to cater this or cater that for them, and then next thing you know, you've got a food truck, and you know, and so I did all that, and I competed under the name Honey Fire, and that's kind of what I had. You know, we quickly evolved. You know, after a few, you know, catering a couple times, I had the desk job. I was working in medical marketing for the healthcare industry up in Brentwood. I had a little office there in Maryland Farms, and man, I was sitting in that office every day, and I was getting jealous of the guys mowing the lawn just because I was just trapped in there for 9-10 hours a day. And
they had all the oxygen you didn't have.
They did, man. I was serious. It's like I was getting cabin fever, and right about that time, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna take the leap, and that was about 2015 or 2016, and took the leap, and we all know that leap is, you know, it sounds great now, but like it was scary then, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, married, 2 kids, mortgage, that whole thing, and
right.
So that was a big deal, and had bought the barbecue food truck, and next thing you know, Nashville was just rocking and rolling at the time, growing so fast that we got booked out pretty much for a year out, Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays, basically every weekend doing barbecue. Do the competition stuff whenever I could squeeze one in, but we just got so busy with catering, you can't really do those comps on Saturdays if you want to get paid. So
this is true.
And so
this is true.
Yeah, that's right.
Now you were saying before the show, we have a mutual friend and a friend of the show for sure. You do some cooking with Mr. Pegleg himself.
Yeah, Kerry Bringle's been a good friend of mine for a long time, and in fact, when 2018 we went brick and mortar with the barbecue joint, and he was, you know, he helped me, you know, where I'm opening up in the same city as him, you know, and he's helping me like pick out my smokers and the kitchen layout and how I wanted to do this. And so he's a big help. And so, yeah, he's been a good buddy. And so I started thinking cooking. I joined him at Memphis in May. I think 2017 might've been the first year. And I've been there every year with him since, doing the whole hog category. So
did you do Smoke Slam last year?
That I did not. I was out of town that week, and so that was the first year that I'd missed in a while.
Yeah,
so.
He invited us to come down to Smoke Slam, but that's the Smoke Slam, Memphis in May. All of that is the same weekend as the National Restaurant Show in Chicago as well. And we're sponsored by Toast, and so I go hang out up there with them at the Toast booth for the week, and you know, we try to do all kinds of fun stuff with them. So.
I want to interject here just for a second. He talked about Kerry helping him out and helping lay out the restaurant and learn, here's you want to do this, do that. Is that a barbecue thing that all y'all help each other out, or is that a hospitality industry thing?
I can tell you, I mean, and you can feel free to speak on this as well, but for me, if if Shane called me next week and said, "Hey man, I'm going to open up another place in Murfreesboro, would you come look at it?" I'd be happy to.
Right.
Right. I have a friend of mine that opened a place here in Murfreesboro. It's a catfish place. Before he opened, I went over there and helped him out. Right. Now I didn't know my own place at the time, but it wouldn't make a difference to me today.
Right.
So I mean, I think it's just kind of hospitality in general. But I would also agree that barbecue is a little bit more of a
community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty tight knit. And it's one thing too. Like I wouldn't open it up across the street from him either.
Well, sure.
So I was on the other side of town. So I think that plays a big factor into it. But actually, like it was like 2 years in, and I was on the west side and he was down on the Gulch close to downtown. And like there was a property that, investors were really interested in and wanting me to go look at. And it was literally right around the corner from him. And like I went and sat down in his office as a friend and just said, hey man, this is what's being offered to me. And I said, I don't. And of course, he's like, you do whatever you need to do for you and your family. But like, relationships are worth way more than that, And so, that probably would have been a cash cow, but it also would have been, right around the corner from your buddy. And that was a quick no for me.
Sure. Sure.
So, there were some investors that weren't super happy with that decision, and so they're, well, man, you're going to have friends on every corner. I'm like, actually, I don't,
Right. Yeah.
And even if I do, they're not all that level of friend. I mean, there's, I'm sorry, but
yeah, that's a tough one, but look, money's not everything.
That's correct. And I wouldn't do that. I don't even have to have a great relationship with the person, sometimes it's just, there's spots all over Nashville that are coming available, and you just have to, that probably wouldn't have been good business for me either to open, he's pretty legendary. So I don't know.
Find the right place for you. Yeah. I love it. Carrie's a good dude. We like Carrie. So you had Honey Fire, in Bellevue, right? And you opened that in 16, the brick and mortar?
The brick and mortar opened in 18.
18. Okay. So you opened that in 18. So walk me through how we got from Honey Fire. It's doing well, right?
Yeah.
Last I heard, at least, I heard they were growing. So
I haven't been involved with it in quite a while, but we opened in 2018. 2019 was our first full year, and it was gangbusters and crushed it. Of course, my wife and I have lived in Bellevue for 15 years almost.
Right.
Here, so
gotcha.
That's our community. You know, and so. They came out and supported us big time there, and it was 2019 was our first full year, and then 2020 hit, and we all know what happened in 2020.
Woo.
And so
that was tough for everybody.
Yeah, so it was.
I've had so many references in the past about 10 days of somebody saying something about 2020, this, that, XYZ. In my mind, like. There will be kids who were born in 2020, 21, 22 who don't know what 2020 was, right?
Right.
And we will all be able to look back at 2020 and they're all going to be like, what? Like, and that's just shocking to me. And now we almost flippantly throw it out there, right? So we know what 2020 was. Like we just kind of.
Well, look, it's already happening today. I mean, if you look at some of the workforce, they don't really understand how awful that was.
Yeah.
And when I say the workforce, not necessarily meaning, people our age, but the kids, I have people that work for me that they're like, oh, well, that was just part of life. Mm-hmm. Just normal. No, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't normal at all.
Gosh. It's the new 9/11, right?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's one of those weird spots for, I was in class at MTSU, know where I was. Right. And had this unique, be real kind with it, English professor. And he was just a hard butt, real just kind gentleman. And he looks up and his daughter's at the door. And he's like, what are you doing here? Like you could tell, like he knew this was out of character, right? She walks in, whispers in his ear, and he looks at us and goes, class is dismissed. I think we all need to go find a news television. And that was all he gave us. That was before everybody could pull up everything on their phone, right? So we're like, I get on my next class. I was like, great, I'm going to be on time. Go in there. We pull up the TV. I was like, I'm going home. And that's when I saw everything go on. So watching that, and then now my kids have no idea.
Yeah.
Their kids will have no idea what 2020 is. Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
it's just weird. Anyway, it's just a number of references seem to keep popping up for me. Everybody's like, hey, 2020, 2020. I'm like, let's stop. I hate it. Like, I'd like to forget that nightmare. And it didn't affect me the way it affected a lot of people. So,
Right.
I mean,
It was not a good time by any means.
business wise, restaurant wise, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it beat me up bad. It was, I mean, majority of we probably had 40 on payroll, and and a lot of those were part time, but we probably had 25, 30 that were working several hours, and then when 75% of them just opt to take that unemployment, that
Right.
$800 a week instead of showing up, it's like falls on you, So
Yeah.
I was there. There were 12-hour days, and like I was doing the prep, and it's just like you just didn't know who was going to show up at night. And
Sure.
then eventually, we built our team, kind of came back, and we got a little bit of momentum. But I made it through it. But at the same time, I had, I had a loan, an SBA loan with my name on it that was I was personally guaranteed on it, and so there were a lot of sleepless nights with that, and so my wife and I made the decision, 2021, to just exit and just start fresh. We got our got alleviated of the debt, and we sold our half of the equity in the business. So I jumped into burgers for a few years. Sit on the sidelines for barbecue for a while, and jumped in on the burgers, and that's when we decided we started looking in 2021. We started looking, we opened a place towards the end of 22. We opened Cledis, which is named after my grandfather. It's a burger joint.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
I saw that in my little bit of research. And the thing that jumped out at me when you said it was about your grandfather, you said that he taught you everything you know about kindness. Mm-hmm. And like, I think we remember our grandparents for one level of another thing, whatever, that you named your restaurant after him, which is paying homage to him in a large way. But then that you say, he taught me everything I know about kindness. So much of the world doesn't know what kindness is, at least not to that old kindness, where you never spoke a bad thing about anybody to anyone unless it was behind closed doors, that kind of thing or whatever. And that was what leapt out at me. And I thought that was impressive and great for your grandfather to pass that on. So
yeah, he was a true hero, man. When I say I never even saw the man, like he was my neighbor. Like his house was literally right next to ours. And like I share my story all the time. Like my mom was 16 when she got pregnant with me. And, and so Cledis put a mobile home back behind his house there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say I grew up with him, I did, and so, but I never ever heard his voice even get stern. I never even saw his brow furrow. He was just not just kind to me and like everybody. Like he would mow everybody's lawn in town, like he would pick everybody up, take them to church if they needed a ride.
right.
He didn't have much at all, but he would, take vegetables he canned out of the garden and take them to the poor folks in town. And like, that's just who he was. And that was just modeled to me my whole life. And not to mention, he also had a little cafe in Indiana called the Midway Cafe where I grew up. And so for the first 7-8 years of my life, I was, literally growing up in the restaurant industry, seeing Cledis back here on the grill, cooking burgers for the local farmers in the community and stuff. And so, and so when it came time to come up with a name for the burger place, I was just like, I don't want to call it Cledis's or anything like that. Let's just call it Cledis. There's something about a Cledis burger that's like, let's do it, So.
I like it. So where did the passion for culinary come from? Was it from when you were a kid and growing up in Midway?
I think so. I mean, I think the hospitality aspect of it did. I mean, I say that it was only open it was called the Midway because it was 8 miles close. It was on a highway in Indiana surrounded by cornfields, and it was 8 miles in each direction to the closest town. And so he was midway between the two towns. And so the farmers would come in the morning, and they would come in and they'd eat their biscuits and gravy or their sausage and their eggs, and they would drink their coffee, and it was basically just a big, farmers getting in there and shooting a breeze and stuff. And they'd go out and they'd work, and then they'd all come back for lunch, and then we'd shut the doors after they left for lunch. And so everybody knew my name. My mom was a waitress there. Everybody knew her. They watched me growing up. We had a little jukebox in the corner, and I'd beg people for quarters just to play Bob Seger, over and over.
I want to go to Midway Cafe. So I want to do. Gosh,
Yeah.
like that's.
Yeah. So No, that's where the hospitality part came in, and I saw just what can happen over food, and shoot, it was probably and I worked in the restaurant industry for a long time, both back of the house and front, whether I was on the grill cooking or whether I was bartending, or I did about everything there is to do in a restaurant. Managed a lot of them. Hard Rock Cafe is actually what got me to Nashville. Transferred down here as a corporate trainer for them in 1999.
Nice.
So I've officially lived in Tennessee longer than I did in Indiana, so I consider myself a
Tennessee now. There you go. Well, welcome.
Yeah.
So
Hard Rock Cafe did it.
is that still in business down there?
As far as I know, the
Yeah,
building's still there.
okay.
I think it's still there.
Right.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So.
I couldn't tell you last time I heard somebody tell me they were going there.
Right.
Yeah, it must be doing all right. But when we were down there on Broadway in '99, it was us and Planet Hollywood.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
Right down the
hole-in-the-wall
street from
bars.
what was the big bar that everybody went to? Not about the club. That
Which one?
We would drive down. Oh, I can't remember.
Wild
that.
Horse.
You talking about Mix
Mine-
Factory?
Mix Factory. That's the one. That's
Mix Factory on Second Avenue.
yes. Yeah.
It was so when you got off the interstate on Avenue, it was probably a half a mile to a mile on the right hand side.
There are some folks right now thinking back to the late 90s, early 2000s. Like,
Yeah.
I was trying to forget that time of life. That was
Oh yeah. God, there was a big show there I did security at with a friend of mine at one time, and I can't remember what show it was now, but oh well. Well, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with some more wonderful stories of the late 90s. What's going on, guys? I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, the owner of Single Tree Barbecue, located right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 2805 Old Fort Parkway. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 until 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 11 to 3. If you want some smoked wings all the way to some Texas-style smoked brisket, y'all come see us. We have some amazing lunch specials during the week and outstanding barbecue right here in the Middle Tennessee area. We can't wait to see you guys. All right, welcome back, guys. Some more wonderful late night stories with Derry and Charlie and Shane of the 90s. No, we're not gonna reminisce about the Mix Factory any longer. All right, so you exited out of Honey Fire. You got Cledis. Did I read somewhere that you started as a pop-up with Cledis Burger? You were popping up around Nashville doing some stuff?
Yeah, I would say we started as that because I found the little spot that we searched for probably 3 or 4 months before we found a spot that we could, I didn't have much of a budget, so I was looking for a second generation spot. And
Yep.
trying to get into something debt free, and you know how it goes. So
Now you're in it's the old it was a brewery.
Various Artists used to be
yeah.
Various Artists.
Yeah.
So it was a great little spot. It's actually an old house that they converted into a little brewery, and they had
It's
a
really
beer
cool.
garden and everything in the back and everything.
Yeah.
So we walked in and I was sold. I couldn't sign the paper quick enough because I didn't want anybody else to get it from me because it just was a hole in the wall. It was in our price point, and it already had a beer garden with a stage for music and everything. And I'm like, I'm in.
Funny story is I looked at it about a week prior to you.
Did you really?
I did.
You were quick
Yeah.
enough, I guess. That's neat. Though.
No, it wasn't big enough for us. Okay. So I was actually looking at it with a friend of mine that owns a brewery. Yeah. And what we wanted, it just wasn't quite big enough for what we were trying to do. Not to put two different businesses in.
Right.
It was big enough for one of us, but not for both of us.
Gotcha.
And at the time, we were trying to find something to do together. Didn't work out. Now he's got his building, I got mine. It worked out, right? So, and obviously it worked out for you too.
Yeah, I'm glad we got it because
it's a nice place. I like it.
Second generation spots are they're almost impossible to find in Nashville. Like everybody's looking for them. It's like a unicorn, because nobody wants to pay for that build out,
Right.
Yeah.
And so, no, it's great, and it's been wonderful to us. And like we've my wife and I, and my family, we all live in Bellevue, and that's our community. And so we've since we opened, we've been looking for something in Bellevue and another second generation spot. It's an old strip center that was made in the 80s, and that's right out. We want the hole in the wall dive bar feel,
Right, yeah,
and so,
right.
So it became available, and we signed a lease on that, and hopefully we'll be able to open here soon. So we should be just weeks away here. So
And that's going to be another Cledis?
another Cledis 2, Cledis Bellevue.
Like it. Nice. Nice. So you'll have Cledis 1 and 2, and then the other one you have now is, what was the name of it again?
So I partnered with my buddy Tyler Lutansky. He was my old neighbor. He's been a good friend for a long time. I think he was 12 years the GM Sanders in Cool Springs. And
Okay.
So I had this restaurant, this sandwich concept called Jam Box, and I was just like, well, I'm creating all these crazy sandwiches, and I'm putting jams on all of them. They all have a signature jam. Some are sweet, some are savory, and it's just like these are just crazy, foot long subs and stuff. And so, and then there was a brewery. Became buddies with the guys over at Fate LaForce Brewery in the Wedgwood, Houston area, and they needed a food program in there, and so we just worked out a deal, and we opened up a sandwich shop inside of that. And so I'm pretty hands off with that. Tyler runs with it, and we meet, and so we're looking to grow that as well. We're always looking for that piece of real estate to grow that, but sandwiches are good. I like a good sandwich. So.
I'm going to throw out there, if you ever have a third location for Cledis, it needs to be your grandmother's name. So you got Cledis and Mabel or whatever.
Interesting. So. I've thought about that too.
See, I'm throwing that out there as a little help here. So
but here's what's interesting you say that, because her name was Audrey.
Okay.
And Sean Brock has a restaurant in Nashville called Audrey.
Oh man, okay.
And so he even came to visit one time, and I even told him, I was just like, my grandma Cledis' wife was named Audrey, and he's like, oh, we'll have to do a collab sometime, because I was going to do an Audrey sauce, which was super spicy, because Audrey was spicy.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have like a secret sauce that was spicy, and I didn't want people to think it was like his sauce. Or
sure,
like
yeah, that makes sense. Well, I'm glad.
Love it.
Great minds think alike there.
Yeah.
So
I love that. It's good stuff. All right, so I'm looking through the Cledis menu. You got some titles, some names of these burgers that are incredible.
Funny you should say that.
Voila. My resident Google artist here.
It's something like that.
So, but they're I feel like I'm fairly creative when it comes to food, and I come up with some really cool things that are just off the wall. But I struggle mightily with naming anything. My barbecue burrito is a barbecue burrito. Like, that's the name of it.
Oh, come on.
It's awful.
All right.
But like a friend of mine has he has a barbecue restaurant too, and he has his beans on his menu are called wedding beans, because they're so damn good. You're going to want to have them in your wedding. That's cool. I like that. Right? Mine, smoked beans.
I mean,
simple is
that's what they are.
Like,
it's simple, right? Kiss it.
Call it what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's KISS method.
So, but it brought me back. I looked at your menu and I was like, damn, I suck at this.
Somebody's creative. So
where do you come up with these names? Like, throw a couple of them out there, Derry, since you got them in front of you.
Obviously the standard, I'm assuming it's the standard, is the Cledis Burger.
Yeah.
If I'm coming to your joint at some point, because my wife doesn't know this yet, but we're traveling. I would get the morning deets. Like, that's just right there.
They all have a story, by the way.
This makes it even better. All right.
Well, let's start with morning deets since that's your number one. What's the story behind morning deets?
Well, it's a breakfast one. It's got the egg and the bacon and the cheese, and we throw a hash brown on there. We smash it on a griddle after we deep fry it, throw that thing on there. But so my favorite Western of all time is Lonesome Dove.
Oh, such a good one.
Danny Glover's character, which I got to meet last year, I got to meet him and tell him this burger was on the menu, but his character's name's Joshua Dietz, and he goes by Dietz. And so I named it after him, because he's just one of my favorite characters.
That's fantastic.
Nice.
Skippy Taille. Like that. I mean, what a beautiful name. Like,
yeah,
it's
it makes you want to say something at the end of it if you're a diehard fan, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
Now part of that, what is cowboy candy?
Cowboy candy is just candied jalapenos, and then we grill them. Okay. So it's actually a thing. If you look up cowboy candy recipes, you'll find them.
All right.
So
have you never had it? Cowboy candy?
No, it's the first I've ever heard of it.
It's really, really good. You put them on the grill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really, really good.
The Bandito Smash.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, that's. I mean, like, these all just. It is. I mean, the naming is perfect.
Are you responsible for the naming?
Yeah, that's the most fun.
So
Okay.
like,
I can't. That's the one thing I won't give up. Even my wife and kids, whenever we were putting together the menu for like even Jambox, they're just like, "Can we come up with some ideas?" I'm like, "Yeah, but that's the thing that I love to do.
you
the
can
most.
submit an idea is what you can do.
Here's the submission box.
That's all you get.
I keep notes in my phone, and like I've got a taco concept, the sandwich concept, the burger, like the barbecue. Like I've got 7 or 8 different concepts that all have names, and I just have fun with it. And I've like that menu. Like I started working on that 2 years before we ever opened.
That's awesome.
And but the names, like I knew I wanted to do different international flavors. Some of the burgers, and like the Thai burger, I love peanut butter Thai sauce. And you'll go to places and you'll find peanut butter on a burger a lot,
Right.
But I wanted to put a little twist on it and do like a peanut butter Thai sauce. And then Skippy is a peanut butter brand, right?
Sure,
So I was just like,
yeah.
Skippy Thai, yay. And then I just wanted to think of Die Hard. And I was like,
That's outstanding. Great Christmas movie.
yeah. Right.
You're going to ruffle feathers there. Don't do that.
Hey, that's what I do.
Come on. Like, so I got a question. You've got a lot of these bigger national burger joints. You got some of the regional burger joints. Burgers are the easy thing. I won't say easy thing, but you've got your casual. You got your, I'm going to go there. You've got your, I can go drop $18 at lunch for a burger fry place. What led you into burgers, and what is that source that like says, okay, my burger stands out? You know what I'm saying? And like what gives you that edge in what seems like a very full competitive market?
Barbecue's the same way in Nashville.
That's
when we
true.
open that, like it's, if you were to open a pizza joint, like people are passionate about, like, I'd say those 3 categories probably sit at the top, like especially like, like when barbecue, like people, anytime anybody gets online and they say the best barbecue I ever had, well, you're in for it,
That's
because
right.
everybody's going to jump on there and they're gonna defend their place as if you're talking about sports teams. You might as well get on there and say so and so's best football team ever. And I go, no, they're not.
Right.
Here's why,
Right.
So, and that's why, like, but same thing with burgers, and so. But you got to carve out your own lane. And that's why you have to be able to do the same thing with all these genres. You have to be able to do the traditional excellent.
Yes.
And so, because 50%, like you would probably say 50% of the people who walk through your barbecue joint, they're getting a pulled pork sandwich. That's probably the number one seller. You got to be able to execute that at a high level and do it right. But you also have to have some creativity and, put some stuff on there that, it's pretty cool. And so that's what we were able to do, and just kind of get that rolling there. So
I love it. That's just, it's such a unique thing. And because burgers are one of those things, like everybody claims they know somebody that can have the best grilled burger or the best, XYZ or whatever. My grandfather had that special sauce. He never told anybody the recipe, and that's awesome. But then you can go anywhere and get a burger. And so
it's true.
Look, I think Shane hit the nail on the head, man. There's anybody can cook a burger, anybody can cook a pork butt, anybody, and you have all these restaurants out there, and they do a phenomenal job. But if you don't do the basics excellent,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what else you got to start there.
Right.
And then you can compound on that. And then that's when the fun gets to come in. That's when, like, we just came up with a country boy birria. Like it's birria, like you would get birria tacos, but we put it on top of cornbread and make it ours, right? It's just something.
Wait, you
off
came
the
up
wall.
with a name of that, but you can't figure out beans?
I didn't come up with a name of that one. One of my team members did.
Well, let him do something else.
Look, man, I know what I'm not good at. Okay, I outsource the things I need
That's
to.
right. I love it. Yeah. Well, get him to work on the beans and the.
Yeah,
Whatever, so.
I mean, what am I going to do, man?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so you got all of these great menu items, but you do some things that are like out of left field too, like just stuff that I would never think of, kind of like the peanut butter sauce going on a burger. Like I just wouldn't, like my brain doesn't go that way. Where does that come from? Like, where does that creativity come from? Is that just something
I don't know.
like coming up through restaurants? You've just, oh, I like this and I like this, and okay, well, let's see if it goes together like peanut butter and jam.
I think so. Like, and I honestly, I think I've just got I got got lucky, and I had a niche for just coming up with different things. And like I know there's like back when I was doing competition barbecue, there's certain elements and flavor profiles that I wanted in every bite.
Yep.
You know, when you're competing, and like judges get one bite to take. You know, I knew I wanted, these are the elements that I wanted. I wanted salty, I wanted tangy, and I wanted sweet, and I wanted a little bit of heat. Those are the four things that I wanted in a bite. And so the exact same thing, those, when you stack those flavor profiles, and then with burgers, I knew I wanted a crispy element on everything. And that's why, like, a couple of ours, instead of just putting mozzarella cheese on them, two of our burgers, we have fried mozzarella. So we deep fry it. We throw that fried mozzarella on the grill, then we smash it, we lay that on there because I want some texture. And so, I don't know. And like, my wife will tell you, I never even tried anything that was on the menu before we ever opened our doors. And I'm not say never, but like I would say probably 5 of the 10 burgers that we launched on the menu, never even made them until we were training people. It's just because I just had it in my mind that they would work. But I was like,
That is outstanding.
If they didn't work, I could change the menu in a day. Like I could pull one off if people were like, it's not working, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could just reprint the menus if I needed to. But I don't know. That's the fun part of it.
Oh, that's impressive.
So.
It's great. It's great. You still do any barbecue?
Yeah, I mean, I cook it for fun. I cook it for competitions, and we do the Memphis in May every year with peg leg porker and smoke slam now, I guess. And so, but yeah, I would do some, and then I try to jump in on some of the ones that are within an hour drive of Nashville, whenever I can, But yeah,
You going to do Smoke on the Shores next month?
Probably not.
March?
That one's always too cold, man. That one, like, plus there's like 60 teams that roll in on that one, like, right?
150.
So it's grown. So last time I was there, it's like 60 teams.
Yeah.
If I roll into one, like, I like to go see everybody, but if I'm going to drop a few $100 to do a competition, like, that's
Well, we will be there if you want to. Just
Yeah.
come hang out with us.
I think that's more my style when the competition gets that big. Because if I don't think there's a chance I'm going to get my name called, then I don't want to drop. I don't want to spend the money, But it's
Look,
hard. Those are hard to win. Those ones.
I'm not a competition barbecue guy. I'm just not. I've never cooked competition barbecue. I'm learning how to do it. This will be my 4th competition ever. I did, it's a funny story. Cooked barbecue all my life. Never done competition. Everybody, hey, you need to do comps. You need to do comps. You need to do comps. Okay.
Hang
fine.
on. Is that everybody, people that are doing comps, or is that just all your people that saying, hey, you should go do a comp?
These are my peeps.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Who don't know anything about
Right.
comps.
That's
Right.
And that's what I was trying to get at, because everybody thinks you're the next best whatever
Yeah.
because I like your stuff. Right.
Right.
So-
I got peer pressured into doing comps. Okay. And then I found out, I kind of like it. This is fun because they are fun.
They're fun.
So I did 3 comps. The last one I did was Smoke on the Shores in Lebanon last year. I had no idea that it was the 3rd largest competition in KCBS out of the entire country. That's not an invitational or it's not Memphis in May or, notoriety wise, but number of team wise. It's the 3rd largest in the country. So I showed up with my 1,000-gallon pit and a tent. And oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Holy cow, was I just a little bit outclassed.
Yeah. People with their $100,000 RVs pulling $50,000 smokers, like, that's me. But I still, to this day, I've won 2 grand championships in KCBS, and both times I did it, I had a pop-up tent and 2 Weber Smoky Mountains because I was running late. I didn't have time. I just threw stuff in the back of my truck and I rolled in. I got there late. I was the last to set my stuff up, and that's when I've done the best, is when I just didn't overthink things.
Right, just did it. Yeah,
just did it.
And that's the last one I did last year at the Smoke on the Shores was the worst I've done in a comp. And I was analyzing and thinking about every breath I took. I changed I cooked 2 briskets and cut each one of them and changed 3 different times on what I was putting in the box. Same thing with ribs. Couldn't get the ribs I wanted. Changed that 3 or 4 different times. Chicken's the same way. Like
I've never been to a competition.
It's crazy.
I literally, what I would have done, I'd have pulled it out, set on the cutting board, chop, chop, chop. Hope y'all like it. Like, again, that's somebody that's never been. Like,
You got Shane. It's crazy.
So
I mean, I got dinged for
too much kale.
a piece of pepper
Yeah.
on the face of my brisket.
Yeah, you told him about that one.
Got a comment card for it.
Wow, that's
Like that's and it literally said brisket was good, presentation was awful. Black pepper. And I was like,
Knowing that somebody turned around and set it down too hard and that piece of black pepper trickled down or whatever. Like,
oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
My bad. Sorry.
I
So-
couldn't even slice the first brisket I ever turned in. I was probably 2009 or 10. It was like pot roast, man. I went to slice it and it all just fell apart. And I was like, I just put a big pile of it in there and didn't do so hot on that. That turned in. But I only cook one brisket. And then that's what you realize a lot of guys will cook 2, 3, or 4. Just turn in the best ones they can get the slices
Yeah.
out of them. So.
I've been blessed to be semi-sponsored at the ones that I've gone to. Like I don't have any clout at these comps, so I'm not getting the full shebang. But they're giving me briskets, and I put up signs and all the things for them. But the food side of it, I'm not having to pay for out of pocket.
Right.
So that's always beneficial when you don't have to buy 2+ Wagyu briskets because they're not cheap, and nobody's using Choice or Prime anymore for comps.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Answer my question here. What is, this is going to make me sound so underneath y'all, so don't laugh. You go to Kroger, Walmart. What is that cut? Like, they got their brisket laid out there. They got it on sale for $3.99 a pound.
Walmart typically has Select and Choice, typically. Kroger typically just has Choice.
Okay. Choice is below Select?
And it's above it.
Choice
It's Select, Choice, Prime, Wagyu.
Okay.
Kind of in that order.
Select, Choice, Prime. All right.
And Wagyu is more of a cow than it is a grade.
Correct. Yeah, I did know that part.
Yeah.
So
I've never paid for a Wagyu. I've only paid for Prime when it was on sale, but like the times that I've done, again, it goes back to just being simple and knowing how to execute it. Like I've always whatever Kroger had, I'd go pick out the best, or not Kroger, but like Costco or something like
Yeah.
that, or just pick out the best looking one. And
Yeah.
I think they always sell Choice. Most of those do. So
Man, it was. I had some of the guys last year at the comp that I did at Smoke on the Shores. After we did all the turn in, and then they all know I'm a newbie, so they're all coming over here. We'll try this. This is what This is what you want, and it's gross.
right.
Like it doesn't taste like brisket. It tastes like roast beef. But you inject it with so much stuff,
right.
and you're putting so much stuff on it. It's not.
Guys will turn in brisket with sweet sugary sauce all over it and stuff, and like, and it'll score well depending on what region you're in, wherever comp you're in. But like, what I turn in competitions is not what I would eat at my house. Like,
Yeah.
make for myself.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like your ribs can't be they can't be fall off the bone, or they're considered way overcooked. Like they have to be like a perfect rib in competition world. Like I'd put it back on the smoker for another 45 minutes probably.
Right. I've heard that. They want that bite, that pull. And I'm like, no, I want to take the bone and slip it out. And I know that's
No.
well done or overcooked or whatever, but like there's something about just,
Yeah, you serve that same rib in your restaurant, and people are
they'll rave over it.
and that's why when I do a comp, if it's a KCBS or certified comp, my first question at the cooks meeting is always, are these local judges or are these KCBS certified? If they're KCBS certified, I'm gonna cook the ribs a certain way. If they're people off the street, like teachers and local people in the community, those suckers they're falling off the bone. They might not even pick it up.
Right.
you know?
Right.
Yeah. It's funny because I've had people in my restaurant. I cook more of a competition style rib without all the trim and injection and all that. But from a cook standpoint, like it has a tug to it. It's what I like. But I've had people, we've overcooked them because we're human. And I've had people go, man, these are the best things ever. And I knew, but when I pulled them off, I'm like, these things are way overcooked. Like they're way overcooked. I don't even need to serve these things.
I like
And
what
they're
Shane
"Oh, man,
said
these are
though. Like
great."
I like to get mine where when I'm putting them back on the smoker and you're letting that sauce get, set and everything, when you pick them up, the ends touch almost. And you're like, that may break at that middle bone. And like, that's where I like mine. And I know that everybody in the barbecue world, like, these are so overdone. You should have put them off an hour and a half ago, but they are great for me. And
Look,
because that's what I like. I mean,
that's what I love about barbecue.
Yeah, 100%.
Is because it's not, there's not a right or wrong.
Right.
When you're cooking at your house,
Yeah.
it's not, there's a way you like it.
Right.
It's not how I cook it. It's however you want to eat it.
Right.
I tell people barbecue's like pizza, man. Like, people are always like, we need to go this place. This place is so much better barbecue than that place over there. It's like, well, you're talking about one's Kansas City style, one's Texas style. And it's just like, do you like New York style pizza or Chicago deep dish? It's preference.
Right.
I personally like all of it.
Yeah.
I haven't found bad barbecue yet. That's
Or bad
exactly right.
pizza.
That's one of my favorite lines from Carrie is you don't have to hate everybody else's or hate everybody else's barbecue to like mine.
Right.
You know?
That's what we try to
That's
get.
great.
Like, you wouldn't believe the amount of people, back when I had the restaurant, and like people would come up and just their natural thing was, well, I used to go here, but now I'm coming here, and they would start to like, and every place gets it. Carrie gets it. People will come in and they'll badmouth the place down the road from him, and like
I get it too.
and it's like you don't like, and I tell them like the first thing out of my mouth is like, oh, he's a good buddy of mine. Well, I mean, I like it, I mean, it's good. I think this is
That's great.
Yeah,
That is
it's
fantastic.
funny. Yeah, I get the same thing.
Well, I just like Carrie was like, don't tell me how to cook my, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it's supposed
I
to be.
love it.
So,
well, you got a mac or beans for us?
yeah, I do got a mac or beans, but obviously first being a barbecue based, program here, your preferred barbecue side, is it baked beans or the smoked baked beans or the mac and cheese?
Before you give your answer, let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to get that answer.
There you go.
Yes, this every.
Welcome back, guys. All right, now we're back in deep into the mac or beans. Shane, we ask this to everybody that comes in. If you're getting a barbecue side, is it going to be mac or beans with your lunch?
If I'm choosing between the two, I'm probably always going to go mac and cheese. Is that frowned upon on this?
No, it's the wildly.
I made a post
we
yesterday.
didn't officially keep track.
I'm gonna go back.
But if I had to, if you had to guess, would you say we've probably? I'm guessing about 60-40 mac and cheese is ahead.
Is that your guess?
That's my guess. It may be as high.
I got
as
homework.
65-35.
Next week I'll have an exact number.
Yeah.
But with that said, we all know if I'm going to a place and they're just opening a can of pork and beans out, and they're dumping that, like, if I gotta know what they're putting some effort into the beans. Sometimes they can, and same thing with mac and cheese. I know some guys who got some pretty successful restaurants, and they're just they're buying that
They got
pre-made
the
stuff
craft
out of
box
a bag,
in the back, and that's like,
yeah, and like, so one can definitely trump the other. But like, if I've never had either one of them and I'm sitting down, I'm gonna go mac and cheese.
I think for me, the part of it's the fail safe, because it's supposed to be hard to mess up, but plenty of people do mess up.
When you started Honey Fire, was it mac or beans that you ate on a regular basis?
Well, I had a killer mac and cheese recipe, and it was I did a white queso with jalapeno mac and cheese. And so
just
yeah,
a
that
little
was
oomph to it.
But I also had a
Sounds
good cowboy bean recipe that had 4 or 5 different beans in it.
See what I'm talking about? See this? Cowboy beans, wedding beans.
right?
Yeah.
I got smoked beans.
I got smoked beans. I'm gonna go really bland and simple, and there's a reason for this, because I want to kind of tailor off. He doesn't know about this yet. Chocolate or vanilla?
Here's something that I've said.
Are we still talking about beans?
No.
Okay.
No,
Just checking.
the mac or beans always has the follow up.
Yeah, no, I'm just checking.
So chocolate or no, there's not a chocolate or vanilla bean. No, not that I'm aware of. But anyway,
I have always said I do not like the fact that vanilla is used as a term or a slang term for simple or generic. Vanilla is
Plain.
such a sweet flavor.
Yeah.
And I'm a bourbon guy, I'm a whiskey guy, and I love the vanilla notes and stuff like that. That said, I could crush a Reese's cup, and those got chocolate in them. So, like, boy, I don't know. I love them both.
Okay.
And so, but vanilla can't be slept on, man. It can't, like it is its own flavor. So when people say, that's pretty vanilla, as I feel like a negative,
Sure,
it
yeah.
shouldn't be a negative.
I completely agree, first of all.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you brought that up because you said that it's kind of what people dumb it down. And that kind of segues into the part of sides here. I want to know y'all's underrated side. And it doesn't necessarily have to be barbecue related, but what is the underrated side that you're like, man, if I ever had a chance to pull that into something or create something with it, I'd go for it. I'm putting you on the spot here, but
So I have a slaw that I absolutely love doing, but it's a red cabbage slaw that's made with yogurt, sour cream, and jalapenos, and it's really, really good. But it's not your traditional Southern, mayonnaise or
Sweet
vinegar
mayonnaise
slaw,
slaw, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like it's a total different. It's left field. Goes great on a fried chicken sandwich kind of deal, but it's different, right? It's not just something that you're going to get every single day at a barbecue joint or whatever.
Right.
Most of us, especially here, have some sort of mayonnaise / vinegar based slaw recipe that they've used for umpteen billion years. I try to make mine a little bit different with my white sauce, so it's got a smidge difference.
got a little tang to it.
But to me, slaw is one of those things that if it's not fresh, it sucks.
Okay.
Yeah, pre-made slaw is gross. Yeah, I agree.
It always gets too watered down, maybe soft. Like
Yeah,
it
like
Cabbage
it
is
breaks down.
wilty and-
Yeah.
it's just- yeah.
So
To me, slaw is it's more about textures. For a traditional Southern slaw, for me, it's more about textures. And I think if you like a vinegar-based slaw, it's more about the texture and the wang, kind of that acidity that the vinegar does, than anything else. If you like a mayonnaise-based, it's simply just creaminess and crunch is all
Right.
you're really looking for.
Right.
But that's why I like that red cabbage slaw that I make, because it's not what you expect
Right.
slaw to be. It's mine.
what's yours?
One that I love, and I did it for catering early on in my career, and I just loved it. It's one of my favorite sides, but it's way too labor intensive to do in the restaurant. Is the Waldorf apple salad?
Yeah.
Get that apple salad. It's got the pecans in it, or the
Yeah.
walnuts actually.
Yeah.
And man, it's so good. I love that stuff. But my goodness, is it a bear to make? Like it's just. And because that's another one of those things of the apples, man. They don't have much of a
The shelf.
longevity
Yeah,
to it.
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to point out.
So
you got a couple hours and that's gone.
It's not built for restaurants, but man, if it's just a small gathering, you can make it fresh.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I was actually going to go with just cabbage in general. I was thinking kind of out loud, like a stewed cabbage, like just like break that down. And it's one of those things where a lot of people just let that go, where a lot of people say, or I walk in, like my daughter, I could smell you made cabbage. Now she acts like she don't want to eat the whole meal. But when you tie those things together properly, and I'll tell you where this is rooted from. A buddy of mine was talking about a meat and three the other day, and I was adamant that I was at some point going to have a meat and three this week. So I woke up this morning, made a roast, put all the potatoes, carrots, I know all the stuff, get home, the cornbread, whatnot. Like I'm having meat and three today. And so I was like, what should I have with this? And a cabbage came to mind. I was like, what's the underrated part here? And so that's where this was all rooted in, just FYI. So I'm glad you went to the claw side, because there is a lot of variety there. People just don't dare to jump into because they got their, well, that's not like what grandma made. And, it's not like what KFC has, which is what everybody's standard is. If you've only had that one or two, but anyway.
What's the, speaking of underrated, because we all have it, what's the underrated menu item at Cledis? What's going on, guys? I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, the owner of Single Tree Barbecue, located right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 2805 Old Fort Parkway. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 until 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 11 to 3. If you want some smoked wings all the way to some Texas style smoked brisket, y'all come see us. We have some amazing lunch specials during the week and outstanding barbecue right here in the Middle Tennessee area. We can't wait to see you guys.
Underrated meat.
The thing that kind of surprises you that people don't get more of.
Man, I've got man, goodness, this is crazy. So people are scared. Like I tell, so the way I structured the menu is the classic, more traditional stuff is at the top, and it gets more adventurous the further you go down. And so when people are like, "What's good?" Because it's fast casual, they're standing there holding up the line. I don't know what to get. And I'm like, "Well, are you adventurous or are you traditional?" And like if they say I'm adventurous, then I say go on down to the Billy Berry. Well, what's a Billy Berry? Well, that is, and this takes an adventurous person because people hear it and they're like, So the Billy Berry Smash is, it might not be on the one you found online.
It's not, because that's when I was like, wait a minute.
Side note, the Billy Berry Smash is what I did for the Battle of the Burger downtown Nashville, and we won, and it punched our ticket to the World Championships in November. We competed in those, and the Billy Berry ended up getting 6th in the world, competing against 25 teams from across the world.
Nice.
And so this one it's a classic Oklahoma style grilled onion burger. We shave the onions really thin. You smash them down into the patty while it's cooking. Yep. They caramelize at the same rate as the burger, and so you have to shave them real thin, otherwise they don't get cooked in time or they overcook. So you got to have those shaved just right. But it's a double smash burger. We throw a white American cheese on there, and then we do a bacon. Of course, you got to put bacon on it. So we put 2 strips of bacon, and then we do a goat cheese crema on there, and then we do a strawberry jalapeno jam preserves on it as well. Wow! And so at the World Championships, I had to make everything on the spot, and so I had to switch it up, and I did a strawberry jalapeno chutney, because I had to make it. I had 90 minutes to make it, and I didn't have time to do jam. So, but that burger, and I call it the Billy Berry because of the Billy goat, the goat cheese and stuff like that, and then the strawberries on it too. So the Billy Berry I think is the sleeper. A lot of people see it and they see goat cheese and they're like, I don't know, jalapenos are spicy, and then it's got grilled onions, but like it all works together. You've got so many different flavor profiles working, and then that one bite is just, you get all of it.
That's awesome. I was looking at your menu here and the blueberry smash, and you've got the bourbon strawberry jam, but with the blue cheese crumbles.
Yeah.
And I would, you say, the blue cheese, I would absolutely, but no, I'm not doing this. But the way it all reads together, like I'd give it a whirl, and like just to kind of see how it plays with each other. But
it's funny you say that, because there's a lot of people, they'll read one ingredient, and you probably get this.
Yeah.
They read that one ingredient, i.e. blue cheese crumbles,
right,
and go,
yep,
I'm not a big blue cheese person.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But when you put it all together, it doesn't taste like blue cheese.
Right. Everybody's thinking that old blue cheese
tastes like that
Shoney's,
burger,
where they drown on top of your salad. Right. See, and that's what.
Man.
So that's what comes to mind. And so when you hear blue cheese crumble, I'm like, that's why I think I'd jump in. I remember the first burger I had that had peanut butter on it. It was called the Elvis, and which it was a perfect play, but I needed something just a little bit more to it. And I was talking to a lady. She said, well, get it on acid. I'm like, what? She goes, that's our jalapeno jelly. So you had the burger with the peanut butter and the jalapeno jelly. I'm talking about, it made me a fan of jams and jellies on burgers right then. So now I'm reading your menu, right? Fast forward today, and I'm like, wow, I got to try several of these. I need to take like $50 and go visit him and just line them up.
A lot of people don't love it.
Sounds like a plan to me.
See, right? You didn't back down, did you?
Nope.
We also ran a special. We did our wings. We did a Billy Berry wing, and I just made thinned out the sauce for the strawberry jalapeno.
Sure.
And we did a strawberry we tossed it in that jam, and then I hit it with some goat cheese crema on top. And we did the wings. We did that for Charleston Wine and Food Festival, because they're just like, you need to come up with something unique. And I'm just like, I'm just going to do the Billy Berry, but do the wings like that. And like they were a big hit, so that's fun.
That's outstanding. I love it. So what's on the horizon for Cledis? You got Bellevue opening up hopefully pretty soon.
Yeah.
You got what's the plan? What are you going to do?
So Cledis is like I said, the second location's about to open there in Bellevue. We're just weeks away with that one. I've got a team of people that are scouting. They're always sending me spots about, opening other locations. And my first question is, who's going to run it? Because it ain't me,
Right.
I can only do so much, and like we're second location. And so I'm already kind of feeling it spread a little thin, but like, I think there's going to be growth if it works out to where, there's other people that can help do the operations part of it. We've got some fun stuff coming up. We're about ready I can't say anything about it, but stay tuned. We got some stuff with the Food Network coming up that we're going to go film. And,
Nice.
that's all I can say about it. But
Sure.
stay tuned to the socials because that stuff might air later this year. So
Speaking of your socials, I told Charlie before you got here, whoever's doing your socials, top notch. As I scrolled through there and saw those, I was like, somebody's doing a good job of the clips and the popular parts that are, rolling through Instagram at the time. Somebody's doing a good job. So kudos to you or whoever's doing that. Tell them to keep it up.
I'm a one-man show.
Okay, well, you're
I
kicking
can't
butt.
justify paying somebody to do some of that stuff.
Yeah,
I
well,
understand that
you're doing
completely.
great things.
Well, thanks.
I was entertained as well as informed.
I'm gonna play this clip back to my 16-year-old son.
Okay.
He's just like, he'll be sitting at the table. And in fact, this happened a few days ago. So Nolan, you're gonna watch this because he's just like, who runs the social media for Cledis? And I was just like, I do. And he's just like, well, it's just kind of like, it's not cool to a 16-year-old.
No.
I'm just like, because I'm
I
using
think it's
clips and
great.
stuff that he's like, but I'm just like, woo. So anyway, so I'm so glad you said
Well,
that.
you got a
gave me
thumbs
little
up from
bit.
me. That's right. That's exactly right. You're doing
I
great.
love it. I love
I told
it.
him, I was just like, 16-year-olds don't spend a lot of money in my restaurant, buddy.
That's right.
I said, that demographic does.
Look, we love it.
That's right. That's
We
all
love it.
counts
That's
right
right,
there.
yeah.
I admire the shit out of it because I do all of my stuff too. So I get it.
Yeah.
It ain't easy. You got a Friday feel good for
I
us?
do. I got one I've been sitting on this week. Look,
Awesome.
guys, you have to limit who you give access to yourself. So many times we are just passing ourselves around like a freebie at a party. You need to keep that in check. Keep those boundaries, keep those fences, because ultimately it's there to protect you. You know what to do. Find somebody you know, tell them you love them.
I love it. I love it. It's okay to say no.
It's okay to say no.
It is okay to say no. I've said that a couple times this week, actually.
I probably should have said it today twice, and I didn't. So,
It's okay to say no.
well,
Dan.
not now. I've committed. So,
Shane, how can people find you if they want to get involved? They want to come eat. They want to get, some of these delicious burgers we've been talking about all night. Where can they find you?
Cledis.com. It's spelled Cledis because that's how my grandfather spelled it. So if you go to Cledis.com, you'll see our social feeds in there, the Instagram and all that stuff. And check the hours because the two locations got different hours. One's basically 7 days a week, open for dinner, and the other one's more of a lunch spot. So, just check the hours for each individual location. Come by and see us, and come have fun. It's if you want a dive bar, I call it a family-friendly dive bar.
there you go.
You walk in
Nice.
and you're just like, what happened in here? It's just like,
It's great.
so we just have fun with it. So come see us, say hi.
Look, I love it, man. You guys know what to do if you want to get involved. If you want to be a guest on the show, please reach out to me at charlie@singletreebbq.com. Feel free to give me a call at 615-307-0120. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all the things. And until next time, guys, we'll see you then.
Y'all be good.
Thanks for joining us today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, leave us a 5-star review and come see us at the restaurant.